I wanted to, for a while, make a tutorial on how to make outfits using Blender Cloth Sim. You can also make outfits of other ways, but this is going to be almost completely free. Almost being that you can choose to buy a tool, but you don't necessarily need it. That tool I recommend is weight paint tools. This will make actually weight painting the outfits you make to the model very easy. Also, I wanted to plug the avatar that I'm using. This is Eimer and Sai by AC Chosen. It's on Booth. It's a very good model. With the outfit we'll make, it's not too different from what the model comes with. So it's basically, I recommend just following along with your own. But I'm going to go through pretty much all the steps and also trying to cover some of the pitfalls that will happen. So the first thing we'll want to do is, before we even start thinking about cloth, is separate this model out so that we have like anything that we don't want colliding with the cloth gone. And also like a lot of high poly stuff. So that's actually going to be like most of the like the big part of the head as well as the hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide the armature. We're actually going to remove this bikini later. And I actually put down some like blackness so YouTube doesn't like hate me. But I'm going to select this and I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm just going to click so I don't have anything I selected that I don't want. And I'm going to pick the head. I'm actually going to pick the hair as well. I'm just going to pick the hair. I'm going to hide it with H. Um, and then I'm going to actually pick the head. And I want to deselect pretty much like that, that, and that. I'm just going to hold control so that it's not there. You see that we kind of clip through it. I'm going to press N and we're going to go into view and we're going to take the clip start and I'm just going to make it like that much. Okay. I'm going to also select the ears and tail. I'm also going to select the expressions and the expressions opaque. I already know off the top of my head that those are part of the head and I don't want them to be part of like the collision. I'm actually going to unselect like that too. I'm going to press, well, I'm going to save first. Alt H to show the hair. Again, I'm going to press P to separate by selection. So now that is no longer something for us to worry about. That's a little weird, but like, that's fine. So next step is actually we're going to create the mesh that we're going to use for cloth sim. So what we do is we start with making a plane. And if it doesn't show up here, that's fine. You can actually like go into the item and like zero it out. But we're going to take it and we're going to press R to rotate it and then press X so it rotates on the X axis. And I'm just going to make it like 90 degrees. I accidentally made two, so I'm just going to delete this one. I don't really care that this is called plane 001 because I'm going to rename it like at the very end anyway. I'm going to go and add a modifier. This is the mirror modifier. The reason why we're adding this is because we want to be able to like shape what it is, but we don't want to have to manage both sides. And when we actually do the cloth sim, it's not going to be symmetrical anyway. So I'm going to select half of it. I usually like working off the left side, so I'm going to select the right side. I'm going to add clipping so that it just snaps to the center once it gets to the center. It's at the center. I'm just going to go into solid view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up about here. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Press G and Z to do both. And then G and X. And this is going to be like directly in front. With kind of, and basically what I'm doing is I'm starting to make like the shape. So this is actually going to be like right here, and this is going to be like right here. I'm going to add a edge loop. So I picked like this here, loop cut, and bam. I'm going to add another loop cut and another loop cut. And we'll actually need to move this later because this avatar has a chest on it. So we need more cloth in the front unless we want it to be like draping over the chest, which usually don't want that. I'm actually going to move this down a little. Okay, I'm actually going to do a loop cut. No, actually, I'm not going to do a loop cut there. Actually, I take it back. I will. I'm also going to subdivide it. And then with this, since we have more vertices, I'm going to go and add the proportional editing. I'm actually going to scale. I'm going to move this over and like scale it to be more square. I think we're going to need more. We want to have some edge here because it's going to wrap around. So I'm just going to make it, I'm going to zoom in. That's like there. That's there. That's there. Other subdivide. And with this, because it's like fairly close, I'm just going to do my subdivides. I think this is actually an acceptable amount of polys, but since my computer is a little, I don't have like a modest machine. I got like a NVIDIA card. I'm going to use that many polygons. So we're going to go back into this material preview. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the face orientation, and blue is what we want. Like if we're in VRChat, if we're doing anything in like Unity, it's going to not, it's basically the back side will be invisible and the front side will be visible. So what we can just do is we can just select it. So press A to select all. I'm just going to search recalculate normals. And if you're in 2.9, it'll ask you outside or inside. You'll want outside. You want the blue here. So I can just show that. So with that, I'm actually going to like add collision to this. We don't want collision on this. We want collision on this. So collision, I'm going to reduce this thickness outer to like minimum. And the reason why is I want it to be fairly close to the body, not like floating over the body. And we're going to have these options inside the actual cloth options on the shirt regardless. So I'm going to hide that again. That has the cloth. We're almost ready to put cloth in this. I'm going to get out of the X-ray mode by pressing here. I'm going to get out of the face orientation here. I did not get out of the X-ray. So we're going to go into the face select, which you can press 1, 2, 3 on that. And I'm going to remove faces here. This is going to be the hole where the head goes through. I'm also going to like do it here, and I'm just going to do a shortcut, and I'm just going to remove faces there, and I'm going to remove a face here, and then I can just press Alt and select the edge of faces, and I'm going to remove faces. And I'm also going to remove faces here, which I'm going to do the same thing, just remove the face here, and then I can remove the face here, and so there's the hole for the bottom of the shirt. Next thing is we're going to not remove faces, we're going to remove only faces. That's a big difference. You see there's still lines here, that's their edges. The edges are going to be seams that pretty much snap the cloth together. So same here, that's the top of the shirt. Okay. So we technically can add cloth now. We're at playpack 1. I'm going to add cloth. And we're not done with everything, but I just want to show you what happens if you just leave it like this. It's just going to go like this and fall. There's actually still collision on this, but like it's not actually hitting it. So what do? Well, we have to go to this shape, and we're going to add sewing. Right, with 0, it is max sewing force, so it's going to just snap, and it's actually going to clip through everything. Our collisions are at 2, so I'm going to leave it at that, but we will change it. So boom. Oh, it's not too bad. It's not clipping. That's good. That means I got it pretty well. I'm going to actually make it like 20 though. maybe 30. Much better. I'm gonna make quality. Well, I'm gonna do this. Our distance is not what we want yet, so I'm gonna make it like 0.005. We may make it lower, maybe make it higher. Okay, that's gonna fall off. Nope, I did not. There we go. So I started moving and I hadn't paused it yet, so it lagged a lot. You can tell that it's not very smooth. The reason why is we currently have it shaded flat. We're actually going to shade it smooth, and that'll look nice. But I'm going to turn on auto smooth and make it like 60 degrees. So we're almost there. I'm actually going to invoke the shrinking factor. So I'm gonna go back here. Oh, and there's actually some presets here. Let's actually make it cotton. This will change a lot of the cloth settings. So if we do that, it's pretty nice. You see it's clipping to the chest. You don't necessarily want that. I'm trying to problem solve what we should do. That's kind of the fun thing with cloth. You're not necessarily doing steps. I'm trying to explain to you how to problem solve this. So the problem we're having right now is it's clipping at the top and clipping at the chest. And what's causing that is it's falling down, not quite getting there. So what I can do is we can make it a little bit higher. And that's helping with that, but it's still clipping to the chest. So what we're going to do, I'm actually going to go into X-ray mode and like hide all that because I don't want to select any of it. I'm actually going to bring that lower. Go into X-ray mode here and see where the chest is. It's going to be like right here. I'm going to proportional edit this to be further out so it can actually wrap around the chest. Did not want to edit that part. Okay, that's starting to work. With that, I'm actually going to use the shrinking factor. So making it a positive number makes it shrink to be smaller, and making it a negative number makes it grow. I'm going to make it like negative 0.1, and we'll try this. It's much better. Another thing we definitely want to do is include self collisions. And I make it minimum because we have a lot of polys, so it's going to collide if we have it too big. So that's still pretty nasty. Negative 0.2. Just double it, see what it looks like. So it's a lot looser, and it's much looser than I want. So I'm just going to go back to like this. This is not the fix that we need. So I'm going to press H to unhide. I'm going to save again. I realize I haven't saved in a while. I'm going to move it out, and then move it out. So I just pressed X every time I did that so that it just moves on the X-axis and nothing else. So, okay. Why don't we just bring this sewing factor back to like infinite? It's actually like the one time it actually works infinitely for me, so cool. Another thing we should do, we should conform it on the y-axis to be closer to the body. So I'm actually going to go into X-ray, select here, select here, boom, boom, boom. Actually, like down here is what I want. And I don't know why I'm not doing this, but I'm just going to use the that. There we go. So that's going to be more form-fitting. Let's give it a try. I'm going to make it 0 now. Cool, that's working. I'll make this down here. Oh, I'm not in X-ray mode, so it's not going to work. There we go. Make it narrower. Oops, I did it backwards. That's not right. Just going to select anything and just reset it that way. Cool. I'm going to just increase the quality of our cloth simulation now. Just going to move it just incrementally. It'll now load slower, but it should look better now. I'm going to do the same thing there. As I said, again, it's an exercise in problem solving. So you see this top here, it's not particularly great. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to remove like the front here. But before I do that, I'm going to remove everything behind so I don't accidentally delete it. And I just select it and I press H. If I didn't say that before. I'm going to remove this face and let's just do it in this pattern. Make a nice like V-neck. Okay, that's working. I'm actually going to do a little bit of cleanup with that. I'm just selecting these verts and pressing F. I don't have to worry about accidentally selecting the ones behind it because I already have them hidden. And I'm making quads as well, so like there's 4 edges, so it's nice. Cool. Let's go back in. Very good. I'm going to actually now add some sleeves. So I need to unhide everything. I'm going to save again. I'm going to select here. I'm going to select here. Bam. 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 None of that should be selected now. So I'm going to go zoop, zoop, and zoop. Now I need just, because it's silly, let me select there, and there, and there, and there, and there. There, this one top decided to just do it on its own. So I'm going to move only faces. Now we have some like really short sleeves here. We can clean up this bumpiness, but with this, I think we're actually fairly good. This is a fairly decent cloth sim. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bake it. This is something you don't have to do, but something I like to do. So I like to just duplicate it. Now it's just there. Next, I make a new collection and I hide it and I go and I press M to move it there. Now it's no longer a problem. I'm going to increase the quality by a lot because I have a decent computer and it's not going to take too long. So I'm going to go and increase my quality. This one's actually, that's max, and that's not max, but it's close to it. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the cache. I'm going to bake it into an animation. So I'm just going to wait for it and then I'll choose a frame and bake that down. So I'm going to go ahead and hit bake and mute it. Okay, it's finished baking and I just kind of preemptively tested to make sure it went fine. But as you can see, it's there. Now, I mentioned this before, but we don't actually have to worry too much about these lumpiness here. What we can do is I'm going to pick a frame that I like, which is going to be, I think, maybe right there. And I'm going to apply my mirror modifier. I'm going to apply my cloth. So now this is just straight up. It's not a cloth sim anymore. It's literally just a bake. So now we have to start cleaning it up. We're in cleanup mode now. So I'm going to go back into vertex select. I'm going to go and pick two edges using Shift and Alt. I'm going to do that. Boom and boom. Merge by distance. It's not 15, it's more than 15. 50. There we go. Same on the opposite side. Merge by distance. I'm going to merge by distance here as well. Great. We're not done yet, but we're getting there. I'll merge that at the center. Hopefully that wasn't bad. Cool. Same as there. View selected. I'm pressing tilde key, which is the one on the left of one. Do that. So it's still lumpy. We can fix that. Merge that there. Merge that there. And I don't think I had a problem. No. So I'm going to add a smoothness modifier. I'm actually going to make it like 3 or 4. For this case, I'll make it 4. And I'm also going to add a shrink wrap modifier, not data transfer, shrink wrap, which is here. And it's going to shrink wrap to the body. That being said, that doesn't look very good, does it? So we're going to add a vertex group. We're just going to assign everything to this vertex group. And this is really important. See where it says weight here? I'm going to make it like 0.25. I'm going to assign it to that. I'm going to go back into this vertex group. Vertex group is group. So now it is more form-fitting to the body. And it also like doesn't like snap to it super hard. So let's do a bit more cleanup. I want to clean up around underneath the armpits and in the back. So we're going to go into this edit mode. I'm going to select like half of this, and like I'm going to select half of it and like hide it. Because there's like the parts in the back I'm going to do separately, and then there's the parts here that we're going to do. So we're going to use the smooth tool. I'm going to select it, and we're going to smooth it out. You see it's a lot smoother. Very nice. I'm going to pick underneath the armpits here. I'm going to unselect what I don't want. You can see here, there's totally like some verts that didn't get merged. So I'm going to merge at the center. Boom. I'm going to save. I'm going to unhide. Well, I unhid the wrong thing. I need to go back to this and press Alt H to unhide. I'm going to go ahead and select and invert my selection and just hide that. So I'm going to pick here, do it there. This is like the one that really was bothering me. There was really bothering me. And then like here was also bothering me a lot, but I don't want any of that. I just want this. So smooth it out. Very good. All right, we're going to go back into edit mode again. I'm going to pick the front. I'm going to hide it. And since like, I'm just going to, as a big swipe, check this chunk. And I'm going to start smoothing that out. See, that's much, much better. There's some parts I actually want to start to, let's see, I want to go here, I think. And I'm pressing J to like select a whole bunch. I'm going to remove that vert. I'm going to remove that vert. I'm going to remove that vert. Cool. So our smoothing seems to have gone well. So we're not done yet, but this is basically what it's going to look like now. It fits across the body. There's clearly like parts where the cloth has stretched to fit over the body, and it looks fairly nice. Like it's not the same level of niceness you would get from something like Marvelous Designer, but it's not bad. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and save. There are certain, and I'm going to actually weight paint this. I'm also going to apply these modifiers. If you're in Blender 2.9, there's a drop down and you have to select apply and you have to do it in this order. So boom, that's done. There's another thing we're going to want to do, and we're going to use I'm going to use the weight paint tools. If you don't have it, you can auto weight paint by selecting this, and then Control P, and it says you can armature with automatic weights. And what it'll do is it'll like automatically weight paint it. So if I go into pose mode, like it's weight painted, but it's gonna clip, I guarantee it. Okay, so those are still there. I'm gonna save again. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna merge it to this body. Okay. I'm gonna make a new material, and I'm gonna assign that because that's not what I wanted to happen. But I didn't have a material, so I just picked one. So now it's applied. Only that material is selected. I'm gonna go into weight paint mode. If you have weight paint tools installed, which you can do, with the preferences and plugins and such. I'm going to press Control X. I'm going to pick project weights. I'm actually going to separate this now into selection. With the armature, I'm going to go into pose mode. Boom. And it's a really good like starting point. We will want to I can't really see them. There we go. That's the chest. You can't really see them, but like it's there. I'm gonna go back to object mode. The last thing I'm gonna cover is I'm gonna get you started with like texturing it. Currently, I don't think there's any like good UVs on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically split it into two parts. And I'm also gonna do a AO bake. So I'm gonna actually need to go into edge select mode and select this edge. I think this is a good edge to use. Mark it as a seam. I think this is the same one on the same side. Mark it as a, not sharp, but as a seam. Then down here, I'm going to mark this as a seam. And unfortunately, this didn't get marked as a seam, so I'm going to mark that as a seam as well. Same deal on this side. And then I'm going back into this mode, select it, press U, it makes your UVs. Very nice. And I'm also going to bake AO onto it, so we have a texture to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and save again. I'm going to take anything that I don't want baked into it. So I'm going to make just a new collection. I'm just going to call it AO, bake hide. And I'm going to make it that. Move this to bake hide. I'm going to move the bikini to bake hide. And so we have this. I'm just going to call it shirt. Finally, I named it. So, yep, there's our shirt. I'm going to make this a image texture for it to bake onto, and we need to make the texture itself. For sanity's sake, I'm going to rotate that like negative 90 degrees so it's easier for everyone. All right, new image. 2048 is fine. Maybe you want 4096, 4K, 2K. Call it shirt AO bake. Boom, there's that texture. I'm going to pick this. I'm going to make it shirt AO bake. You can just search it. And so what we've done is we've taken everything, we bit it in, it's basically disabled, so it's not going to cast shadows with that. If we had this up, anything like the hair would shadow the body. We don't want that. We want like the body to shadow the shirt because it's always going to be attached. So you go into the render engine. We're going to go into cycles. You can increase the render. I'm going to make this like 512. I have a decent computer. We're going to take it from combined to AO. Margin 16, that may be a little bit too big for a 2K texture, so we're going to make it 8 pixels. And then with this selected, and make sure that's there. I'm also going to remove anything that's not used. Remove unused slot. Let's see, shirt matte. Boom. We're going to go ahead and start baking this, and you can see down here it's baking. All right, we're back. It's finished baking, and you can see here this is now white. I'm going to go, and you can see in the UV editing that it looks like this. I should have mentioned this earlier, but if you're going to be taking this into Substance Painter, we've already passed that point. Once you have your UVs, you can take it into Substance Painter. But I'm not using Substance Painter for this. So we have a white shirt, and we have our AO bake. Let's go ahead and save let's save as, and I'm going to go ahead and save this into like the same spot where everything else went. I'm also going to take the UV and export the layout. So it's like shirt PNG. I'm going to name it shirt UV PNG. Cool. I'm going to remove the bake hide. I'm actually going to take these bikini things. At this point, I don't really want to cover pants, but so we'll have the bikini bottom. I'm also going to remove that censoring thing that I did. So want on that, and then body. Bam. This is looking fairly nice. We'll need to recombine that. That probably wasn't the best spot you can see that the normals got a little messed up. But let's make this like this pink shirt. So I just open this up. I use GIMP, but you can use whatever you want. But like, there's the UVs. Here's this. You can start drawing on it. In this case, I'm just going to like color erase the white. I'm going to add pink. I'm also going to make like this red. Boom. That's good enough. I'm going to make it just shirt pink. It's exporting it. This will be shirt pink. When I assume it's done. Yeah, it's done. Now we have a pink shirt. Pretty high poly, and we wanted high poly at first during the bake, but we don't necessarily need it. So luckily we worked with quads. So we can just start like dissolving edges. So I'm just shift and pressing alt. Use discretion, like where you actually want to dissolve it. Also, I'm doing every one, so I'm doing this wrong. So use discretion, unlike me. So dissolve. I'm going to dissolve those edges. Spots where I feel like it should have more. There's a lot of angles I'm going to keep. So like, I'm just going to remove those and that. And then we want to keep the edge loops, of course. And luckily it's just like, oh, we just flip around. Cool. Makes it easy. Leave it like that. I'm going to do this side as well. Don't need, like, we're saving a lot of polys this way. You don't necessarily need to do this. So like, we're actually pretty much done. You can clean up the things that you can clean up if you wish are the weight painting, which you can just go into weight paint mode and start like smoothing stuff and moving stuff around. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And because we have the texture, the Yo Bake, it's still going to have pretty much like a lot of the detail still baked into the texture. So yeah, I'm going to save that. This is pretty much it. If there's, pretty much this is how ClothSim works. You can you can start experimenting to get more interesting stuff, but like this is the basis. So go out and make cool stuff.